Just man, I'm still not used to the delay between StreamYard and YouTube. Okay, we're here. I'm assuming that everybody's watching an ad right now because it's going to force you to do that. So we'll give it.
I have the.
But we are back for the duel. I almost said the truck race for the duel. So I'm very happy about that. I don't know about you, but for duel number 1, I see it going one of two ways of Hendrick saying, we're going to run this thing. We're not going to have Larson fall back. And then the Hendrick guys just lock up the first 4 spots, or we see the Fords in duel 1.
Did he actually say that? Or are you saying that he could say that?
No, I'm saying that. Like, they haven't said what they're doing.
They're going to the back. They go to the back every year. Well, you could look at the spreadsheet and see that they always go to the back every time. The only time that they stay up front is if, like William Byron will stay up front because he'll lose spots, and we've seen that. So I guess, well, all right, go ahead.
I mean that's it, because
like Larson should go to the back. Byron and Elliott will stay up front, right?
Yeah, but so I got to pull up the first duel. So the issue, at least with me, I don't think Byron and Elliott, even with Chastain and Suarez there, I don't think the Chevys have the motor to keep the Fords behind them. I think they need Larson up there. And so, not that I would play Larson, but I think if you're interested in playing Byron or Elliott, it's a situation where I think Larson needs to be up there, keep him up there. Otherwise, I just want to slam in Blaney, Keselowski, Cindric, those guys as my favorites in this race.
So are you saying that the Fords are just going to fly by them?
Yeah, I
think there's that much of a difference in speed and in body type, and the whole nose thing is a factor.
Yeah, I think the Fords have a huge advantage, and I don't think we're going to see a wreck in either event. I would love it if both fields just got taken out to see the.
Why do you think that? Why do Fords have a huge advantage?
NASCAR made a change to their cars because they had more downforce on the nose, so that was going to give them an advantage at like the intermediate tracks and stuff. And they made them take that out, but all that downforce that they would have had here at Daytona, that would actually slow them down here. And so since they took that out, that's why we saw them so fast in practice, even with all the cars being skewed out to the left and crab walking. That's why the Fords were so fast, because they've actually taken resistance out of those cars.
So I agree with that in theory, but in a pack, do you think that's really going to matter? I mean, we haven't seen in side-by-side two-wide racing, and then we probably won't even see that. What kind of racing do you, I guess, let's try to reverse this. What kind of racing do you expect to see?
I think it's one line.
Okay.
I think it's high or bottom, but I think it's just one line.
All right, so then it really won't even matter if you're a Ford or a Chevy. It's just where you happen to slot in that line.
I think where it comes into play is when you pit, because I think this race goes green. And so whatever line works out better when they pit is going to be the guys there at the end.
So, yeah, the Fords come together, the Chevys come together, and everything. What happened last? So I think if we looked at last year's duel, because they went completely green in the first or second duel last year, the first duel. Mm-hmm. First duel went completely green. So if we look at the results from last year's duel and we see that, it was all Chevy or all Toyota, then I think that would be definitely something to consider. So if we look at last year's duel, it's not, though. It's Eric Almirola, Ryan Newman, and Fords. Then you've got Ty Dillon in a Toyota. You got Joey Logano in a Ford. Then you got Christopher Bell in a Toyota. You got Jamie McMurray in a Chevrolet. You don't have any of that. Mm-hmm. And Eric Almirola leads the whole thing, practically. Mm-hmm. I don't have the lap by lap for the duel. I'm not doing that. Actually, I probably do have the lap by lap for the duel somewhere.
I bet you do. I think it is in there.
Yeah, but I don't know.
As I said, I don't have
it's going to be Ford, and
I think it's going to be boring. I think it's going to be a really big snooze fest. I like that for those that are here, Pearce actually gave you the picks on his site. He actually just put out
something there. It's early.
No, but
I reserve the right to change some ideas. Now I'm not going to do that for other races. It's just a throwaway duel race. Why not just put some picks up there? and with the sentence too. And it's just kind of a lot of stuff that you talked about in your video with JGR and which we'll get to that one. All right, let's just go quickly through Duel 1 and kind of go pickies. I don't like Larson. Do you like Larson? Even if he decides to race, can he score?
No. I was just saying that I think Larson races more than we think. I think Larson finishes inside the top 10. I'm not playing him. I'm not playing Larson, Byron, Elliott, Chastain, Suarez. I'm not playing them for DFS. But I think Hendrick is going to try and run in the top 5 the whole time. It just depends on what happens when they come out of the pit stops.
Is there anyone inside the top 5 that you're interested in rostering?
No.
What if William Byron or Chase Elliott lead all the laps? We've seen William Byron lead all the laps. What year was it? Was it Duel 20? 2020 in the Duel, he won. Where did he start that one? I bet it was probably second row or something like that.
Yeah.
I think he's a real threat. So in 2020, Byron wins. He doesn't lead all the laps, but he started in 4th place. He wins the Duel. He finished with second most fantasy points. I don't think I would look. Well, I guess I wouldn't cross them off. Do you think other people are going to play Byron and Elliott?
I think they're going to be played a good amount. I think Elliott's the favorite to win this Duel on the sports books. So
yeah, branding appeal.
Yeah,
but I don't think he has like a discernible advantage over William Byron. Probably even Ross Chastain for that matter. And when it comes down to the last 5 laps, Ross Chastain and Daniel Suarez are stupid enough to try to win this thing, whereas Chase Elliott's not going to sit there and really try to battle. If it's single file, Chase Elliott's going to win. If there's any type of racing involved at all, then I would say Chase Elliott loses because he's just not going to – he already said, I'm not going to risk this car. In his interview where they I think it was Matt Weaver article where they were interviewing different drivers and Elliott was just straightforward like, look, I'm here to win on Sunday. That's it. Yeah. And the way I read that was he's not even trying to race on Sunday until the very end. So if he's not racing on Sunday until the very end, then I don't have any confidence in him finishing inside the top 3. So I can get rid of Elliott, I think, which is crazy if the sportsbook thinks he's going to win. But again, that's people betting. So. And people are stupid.
I like Byron.
I could give Byron a chance. I think Ross Chastain and Dan Suarez are not terrible plays at all because they can win this race. Their equipment looked good, and they could work together, right?
Yeah, because I have Suarez for 39.7 points. I got Chastain for 37.2. They are.
You have them for wait. Say again.
I have Chastain for 37 and Suarez for 39.
So you don't have them going forward at all.
I have Suarez finishing 5th. I got Chastain finishing 6th right now, which I think is a great. I think that's where they're going to finish. I think they're either going to finish behind Hendrick or they're going to finish behind Penske in this race.
I think they both can win. Which, if I drop them down to how many points do you have them for? 4th and 5th, so you don't have them going forward. Right. All right, well, that's the difference. I'm basically going ceiling. It is.
Yeah, you're getting. I mean, I'm
going more GVP. That's really strange that you're going. I guess you are almost going GVP in a way that you're going negative on people. I suppose that's an interesting angle.
I don't think it's.
Like I was going to say, well, you're kind of being conservative, but actually, you're so conservative that you're being more, wild with it. By lowering these guys,
because let me look. Because right now I have Larson. Here, these are where I have the first 5 drivers. I have Larson finishing 6th. I got Byron for 4th, Elliott finishing 5th, Chastain finishing 6th, and Suarez finishing 5th. Those are the projections for those guys.
Who do you got jumping over all
I think they're all going to hover around in the middle of the top 10.
Who's jumping over them?
It's the Penske guys. I like Blaney to win this race.
And Blaney, that's 2.
Yeah, well, I got Reddick gaining positions on him. I think Keselowski's going to run hard in this race. I think he's going to see what he has in that car. And I know he's not with Penske, but the Fords are going to work together in this. I wouldn't be shocked if we see, Blaney, Keselowski, Briscoe, even Cindric lined up nose to tail. I also really like Justin Haley.
I don't know. So here's the thing that they're all saying we're going to be conservative and playing it safe. you kind of have to go out of your way to work with teammates and work for teammates. And that is not safe. Safe just means you don't do anything stupid and you stay in line.
Mhm.
Where I get like, oh, it's better to work with your teammate. For what, though? If they're playing it safe, why would you work with your Ford teammate? I'm asking you, why would Blaney work with Brad Keselowski if he doesn't gain anything and he can only wreck his car, ruin his car?
I know I brought up, I've been pushing the whole part shortage since January. I don't think a lot of these teams care, to be honest. I think that is actually being blown out of proportion. It would hinder. I think it would hinder. It's going to hinder teams a lot. Like if they trash cars here, it's going to hurt them for the West Coast swing. But in the grand scheme of things, I think we're going to see distinct Chevy line or a Chevy pack and a Ford pack in this.
This is your worst take ever. You cannot spend all off season. There's a part shortage. It's all a disaster. It's all a problem. And then a day before the race, that's not a big deal at all. What's that?
It doesn't matter anymore.
It doesn't matter anymore. Well, I mean, I can understand that if everyone's built onto that narrative and you want to get off of it, but you freaking built that narrative.
I did, but man,
I think it's for real. Look at Harvick. So not only do they not have any parts, and that's got backup issues, but like if you're going to build a car and you have all of these parts, you try to put the best ones, you tinker. If you don't have very many parts to work with and you can't tinker, then you're probably gonna have some slow race cars, and that's you see with Harvick saying my car is really slow. That would make sense because they don't have parts. They couldn't really work on the car the way they wanted. I think there's going to be some real problems this week.
I mean, look, I can't remember who said it. Oh, it was Keselowski. Keselowski said on.
You can't believe anything he said, by the way. But go ahead.
No, Keselowski said on Race Hub yesterday they're expecting all their cars to get trashed at this race. That's what Keselowski said on Race Hub yesterday. And
well, he is an owner now, so he probably needs to just start living that life and understanding, like, yeah, we're screwed.
Yeah, so I'm not saying these guys are going to go out and wreck, but I think all the teams have written this car off. It's a situation to where, because I was in that situation, like we would only have one car at a time, really. If we destroyed that car, we would just have to, bust our butt, the week following, if we destroyed the car or whatever. I think people are just going to race this the same way, honestly, which is going to be a boring, one lane race. But I think that's it.
I would. I mean, why? There's no point in running too wide. And maybe we kind of got spoiled the last couple of years with COVID, and then with that was last year for all those plate cars. Last fall at Talladega, that was it for them. And basically Daytona was already there. They were already going pretty wild. Yeah. We have seen them be very timid when they made changes at plate tracks. I think like Talladega. I can't remember specifically, though, what races those were. But, yeah, I would see them tiptoeing around the entire time. And if that's the case, if they're going to tiptoe, they're not going to look for, where's the other Ford? They're just going to get in line and go. And they're just going to turn laps.
Well, okay, so if they just turn laps, well, then the Hendrick guys are going to stay up front, the Chevys then.
I think they lose a couple spots. Maybe Byron gets up top, but I think they lose a couple spots. You got a ton of Chevys up front there.
Yeah, they do.
I don't know. I like Suarez, Hemrick, Chastain. I don't think you're as much on them. That's fine. Ryan Blaney does look like a great play. Whether or not Cindric helps him or not, he's a good plate racer. I think he goes for it. I think Tyler Reddick can't help himself, but go for it. Brad Keselowski feels like he's going to be really popular, and I might just decide not to play him. What do you think?
I like Keselowski.
Yeah, and there's all the reasons to like him. But if he just has an okay race or he's slightly timid, then you definitely have a huge advantage on the field.
One thing I did when I was looking at these, and I think it's more so, Eric Jones is in this race. So like Eric Jones is an example of a guy that I looked specifically at his races since he got in this 43 car. And in these duels, like Eric Jones just falls back.
Yeah, he said that in that interview with Matt Weaver. Said, we'd love to help. They were talking kind of like how are they going to help somebody out. I think Casgralla, who's in the ECR car, which I don't even think they really need to do. That interview, I think, kind of is worthless now. But it's like, we're not really going to help people out and take that risk, which also means he's not going to take any risks. He's got to protect his car. I'm surprised that team even has any money. I guess they've got kind of 2 cars now, which whatever. Yeah, I think Jones is falling back.
So anyway, I brought Jones up because last night when I was doing all this, at the very end, I was kind of looking at where I had guys moving and then looked at how they've ran either with their team or just in general, what they do in their duels. And so that's why I'm more aggressive with, Keselowski trying to run up front. I think Cindric runs up front. People forget that he actually ran the 500 last year. And he's going to be fast. I'm all over the Fords. I really am.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Cindric. Would you rather have Cindric or Keselowski if you had to pick?
Cindric. I got Cindric projected for more.
What about ownership-wise? Lower ownership?
I don't know if people are going to play. I have no idea how to project ownership. I ran.
Well, just in your mind, do you think people because I think that's the best calculator is just to say it to yourself, like, are people going to play this guy or not? And I would say that just looking at some stuff here, sorry, that more people play Keselowski than they will Cindric. And if more people are going to play Keselowski,
so what I do
if there is any kind of teammate situation, then Cindric definitely benefits, whereas Keselowski does not.
So what I do to project ownership really quick is like if you have the sheet here, I run the light optimizer just really quick to just throw
the light optimizer or the mass entry. You mean the mass entry thing? No, the optimizer.
You know what I mean. I mainly I run the light one specifically when I just want to see ownerships to see what it throws in there really quick. That's why I couldn't remember what it was at. And so I'm going to lean more towards Keselowski being more popular than Cindric, where I think it should be the other way around. But
I'm got to show people how to use, but can't show you all the tricks. Okay, Kurt Busch. What do you think about that?
I love Kurt Busch. I know I've seen people talk about he's the only Toyota in this race. I think, if anything, I think
But BJ McLeod isn't BJ McLeod in a Toyota? Isn't that?
No, he's in a Ford.
Is that a Ford? I can't keep track of BJ's cars. That's right. Yeah. Well, I know that they have that Alliance in the Xfinity series, but weren't they originally Toyotas?
Remember, BJ's in a Stewart Haas affiliated machine.
Can't wait to hear those again.
I like Kurt Busch because he has.
How many times did I hear that last season?
Right.
Every time.
I like Kurt Busch a lot. I like Haley a lot. Those are probably the 2 place differential plays I would focus on the most. I've already told you that I like Blaney to win this race. I'm probably higher on him, but I think if the Fords do get up there, I think it's Blaney that's going to have the fastest car.
Let's talk about some of these cheapies because I'm sure people are going to want to know about them. I guess who's your number? We'll do a quick draft here. We'll look at Gill and back. Who's your number 1 pick from Gill and back? You're probably going to take one of these guys, right?
I have Gralla in 1 lineup. I'm only playing 3.
Yeah.
But I have Gralla in 1.
Yeah, I would say he's number 1 pick for me as well. Yes. All right. Number 2 pick for you.
And Gillen.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Gillen number 2 because I just don't know if these other guys are going to race. And Yaley just needs somebody he needs carnage.
He needs Rex.
And that's fine, though. That can happen, but we're not expecting it to happen in this race. But if it does happen, then Yaley's going in the optimal lineup.
So I would love Yaley or Hill to make this, but this is when I do specifically enjoy looking at qualifying speeds. And you saw how slow Yaley and Hill were compared to the field. I think Yaley loses this draft, and it's Kaz Gralla's race to lose.
So if Yaley's benefits from big time wrecks, well, then so does BJ McLeod. Even if BJ McLeod's like, I don't even need any spots, but if there's big wrecks, he gets those spots anyway. And we're gonna. And if there's big time wrecks, I don't know.
that's why my interest in building a lot of lineups for
Regan
this
Smith
fight just
looking
shifted to the
rough
truck
these
series
days.
because in my opinion, the player pool is around like 12 drivers. And I think that's a bit of a stretch, really.
Yeah. So if people are building around the same people, then do you go to the back here and play two of these guys?
I think if you're going to the back, in terms of leverage, it's Custer and Jones. I don't like Jones a lot. I think Custer's going to go underowned. He'd probably be my guy if I'm throwing in a lineup to try and get different.
Yeah, but that's breaking the rules. I was talking more about 16 through 21.
I don't like those guys.
Is
BJ
anyone
didn't even run a
playing
lot
them?
of BJ didn't even like run any laps in practice. Yaley is here just based on like hoping something happens. Grala is the only guy back there that I would put in lineups. But even
Castle
still,
just take care of his. Doesn't want to mess
yeah.
up his Fox Nation ride. Got to keep that thing clean. I'm sure they don't have a backup. No, Gregson doesn't have a backup. They're running single file, playing it safe. Who's really trying to race? If I'm looking at it and saying who's trying to race, Chastain and Suarez will probably try to race. Agree?
Yeah.
I'm not sure Hemrick will. Blaney would like to, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Blaney say, meh. Like, who can't help themselves? It's Chastain and Suarez.
So this
They
is
can't. Like, they can't not race. Ross Chastain can't do it.
I was talking to Bixby in the Discord earlier, and even he kind of came to the same conclusion of there's not a lot of positions that might be flopped here. Like there is a chance that a lot of people finish very similar or very close to where they actually start this race. That's why I'm leaning more towards either stacking Fords. And if I'm playing Hemrick, then I really want to play Haley because I think Chastain and Suarez are going to stay together. I think Hemrick and Haley are going to get together at some point, and I think all the Fords are going to get together at some point. And I might be like Galaxy Brandon or looking too far into the teams here. Because I almost never like team stack or manufacturer stack, but this is just a situation where I think that's how the teams are, like across the board. Like, let's not wreck the field. Let's get around people who understand. Let's not kill each other, and let's kind of ride. And then, like I said, I'm aiming for the green flag pit stop with the Fords getting out in front.
Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with the optimizer, what it spit out. You want to look at Duel 2?
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump to Duel 2.
I think people got a pretty good idea of where we stand on that.
Yeah,
we can come back to it as well. We can come back to it. What time does the Duel 1 start? 7 o'clock?
Yeah. We got plenty of time. You want me to start Duel 2s, or you want to go with your claims? Okay, so I think JGR just runs away with this field. I don't see. I think Hamlin wins this. I think Truex finishes inside the top 3. I think Wallace. If Hamlin doesn't win this race, I think Wallace does, and I think Kyle Busch just follows Wallace in this. So that's my main takeaway. Those are really the 4 or 5 guys I want to really hammer in this race.
Well, let's just stick with your 5 JGR then. So who's ranked them? Factoring in everything, right? Factoring in possible ownership, factoring in their ceilings. Who are you taking number 1?
I like Bubba.
Yeah, got the track history.
Yeah, I like Kyle Busch.
Yeah,
and Denny Hamlin. Those would be my
ownership. I think Bubba and Busch are going to be 1 and 2 in terms of ownership. Yeah. You're just going to eat it, suck it down.
Which, oddly enough, the one where I think ownership's going to be the most condensed is Duel 2, and that's the ones with the bigger contests.
You got to take Denny Hamlin, start number 4, Magic Force.
I said Hamlin.
Right? I know. I'm just saying, like, if people haven't watched 17 Duel videos that I did, was it the number 4 spot in Duel number 2 has hit 8 times? Something ridiculous. Yeah. So,
and then I like Bell. Bell's gonna do whatever they do.
Yeah.
And then I think after that, Stenhouse is going to be the next popular driver. Him or Harvick.
Yeah, Stenhouse is another classic example of a guy who just can't control himself.
Mm-hmm.
He can't not race. But he also suffers from people who don't want to be anywhere near him.
Which that can work. Can you imagine? You know,
He was almost
you're
about ready to win that, wasn't he? He was leading at the end of the last Talladega race before Bubba took the lead and won, if I remember correctly.
I think I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I think if everybody's just like, hey, let's ride, you're just going to see Stenhouse making moves, dive bombing people, filling in the gaps. He's here to race.
Was it the I think it was the whole weekend. It was the Clash and then it was the Duel where everybody else was like, we're just going to run up against the wall and run single file. Meanwhile, he's side drafting everybody. And he's wrecking people. He's taking people. He wrecked McDowell, and they interviewed him like, this guy's trying to be a hero out here in the Duel because he won one race. All of a sudden, he thinks he's Superman. It's true. Stenhouse did think he was Superman, and then boy, did he come to Earth at the Blake tracks recently.
Yeah.
Which is so crazy because the whole JTG daughtery plan was always stay in the back. And they bring in Stenhouse and it's him trying to run out front and lead the charge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Stenhouse is going to be popular besides JGR, and JGR is going to be extremely popular. Where else could we go? Can't play Bowman. We know where Bowman's going. There's enough of a sample size here to know that dude's going to the back.
So with me, this is just my initial thought, and this is why I'm not playing a lot of lineups. I think I'm going to reiterate, but I think Kyle Busch is optimal. I think Bubba's optimal. I think Hamlin's optimal. I think Stenhouse is optimal. So that's 4 guys right there. And so it either then goes to people like Logano or Harvick or Michael McDowell. I mean, I think it's like the first 4 that I mentioned, and then it's just going to be either mixed in with Ty Dillon, McDowell, Buescher, LaJoie, Logano.
Speaking of, someone wants us to talk about Reagan and LaJoie. I don't expect Reagan to push at all, right? Reagan just out there turning laps, and LaJoie, his track history at this race has been, well, I mean, look at the way he approaches regular plate races. He just tries to survive and wait to the end. You never see him running up front hardly, and it's worked out for him pretty well. And he's demonstrated in the past, in his last, 4 of his last 5 dual races, he's finished 19th, 16th, 16th, and 16th. I would imagine he kind of does the same thing. Reagan doesn't need to drive forward. And even if, let's pretend that Reagan wants to drive forward, how's he going to do it if everyone's being, calm and passive and peaceful? How does Reagan get 5 spots? Who's he going to take those 5 spots from? I guess people
The only thing about LaJoie that I did think of last night was when I was looking at how he's finished in the Duel. So he did finish 7th last year here when he was the first year in this car that he, believed in, that he wants to be at this team. That was the only outlier of him actually running in a Duel. Outside of all the other races when he was still in poor equipment, he just rode in the back. I think that is noteworthy. I don't know if he does that again, but that does lean me to not worry about LaJoie nearly as much, because the one time that he was in this car that, like I said, he wanted to be in, he actually finished 7th here.
Yeah, but I mean, if you take a step back and say, all right, well, what did that get him, though?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, all right, Corey, you went for it, and you finished 7th.
Uh-huh.
Was it really worth the risk? You're probably better off the last 5 years just staying in the back, not taking any risks, as opposed to, let's go for it.
Mm-hmm.
And now, was that also, I wonder, which Duel was that? Was that the stupid Duel or the safe Duel? Because there was the Garrett Smithley Duel, and then there was the safe Duel, right?
Let me see. That was, I think it was Duel 2.
Yeah, that was the stupid Duel.
Was it? Oh, I got Control F.
He finished in 7th, and we got Derek Cope finishing 17th. Garrett Smithley in 16th. Noah Gragson in 18th. Grala in 14th. I mean, this looks like the worst freaking Duel I've ever seen in my life. That 7th place finish is slightly inflated. I don't know, man. Look.
I think, but he did avoid that wreck.
Alfredo in 21st. Ross Chastain in 20th. Byron in 19th because he just went to the back.
No, Byron Chastain. It was the video that I showed on my video last night. They all got involved in that wreck.
Did Byron get wrecked in that?
Yeah, Byron got torn up.
clown.
So that's my only other thought is like, I don't know if Biffle has engine issue. A tweet
Did you
came
get
out
a
earlier
copyright
that
flag for that, by the
him
way?
having issues last night was the dash on the screen. I don't know about that. I would trust what Biffle feels in the car versus what the dash is telling me. So
There's a reason Biffle is not in a car anymore, folks. His better days were a decade ago.
I don't know where all the Biffle love came from. Like, I have a Biffle shirt, but I was never like, hey, man, he's like my top 20 drivers. Like, all of a sudden, everybody's just nostalgic because
wait 2 months, and people are going to long for Ryan Newman. Think about, DFS people in particular, how much we loathed Ryan Newman and all the problems that he would cause. 2 months, people are going to miss him, and he'll make a comeback race, and people will love him again and forget all the chaos and madness that he's created throughout his career. Just wait.
Well, you're buying up all his merchandise. He's going to come back to sell you more shirts.
I'm telling you, guys got to go. It's like $3 for that T-shirt. A nice T-shirt too. It's a soft cotton. I don't know what you guys are waiting on. I gotta.
Oh no! It's crazy the amount that you.
This was $4, man.
Like, I don't know where you're finding this stuff. I looked that day, and that hat is $9.99, and that's just too steep for me. Like, I'm looking for all these killer deals that you're saying, and I'm like, there's only 50% off. I'm not seeing enough here. This was a $5 shirt. This is why, look, $5 is my limit.
Nothing quite like a band that sings about pedophilia.
Listen,
Christine 16.
Why did I know that was going to come up? Because I'm wearing a Love Gun shirt, and I was going to be like, I was just waiting for somebody to be like, why do you have a Love Gun album on? And I was like, well, obviously Christine 16. Obviously, that's the best song on that album.
I like that song. It's not something that you can really play out loud.
Jeez.
Now, even it was okay to listen to as a teenager. I loved it. Now it's, I don't know if I should listen to this song anymore.
What else do you got? Isn't it Winger 17?
Well, then you've got Paul, the Beatles. What was what song? Which one is that? I know the melody. Yeah. Anyway,
we're going downhill. I'm sorry, everyone. Thank you for the 50 here, spending your Thursday night with us. Thank you very much. Back to DFS.
All right. Yeah, so JGR, but let's try to get off. Kevin Harvick. Why not? He's been great in these dual races. He's been a lock in dual races, finishing 4th or better in every one of the last 6. How do you not play him? Starting 13th.
I think you have to. I think this slate splits a ton. I think there's a huge amount of people playing the optimal in this contest or in this race.
You take Harvick, you take a little bit of JGR. Who's the value guy you're looking at in the back?
I like McDowell.
Yeah, so you're not going too deep, and that's fine, I think. He just kind of finishes around. The only way McDowell doesn't work is let's look who's Harrison Burton could beat him. I don't think so, right? He's going to need some help. Who else in that price range? Ty Dillon? Ty Dillon had a race in last year, didn't he?
I didn't even remember him being in the race.
I'm pretty sure he had to race in. He wasn't going to get in, and then he got in. And
okay, but this is a side question. Who drove the 62 last year outside of Gregson's attempt to the 500? I don't remember who was driving that car last year.
I'll look it up because now it was somebody. I want to say it's like someone came out of nowhere and got in that Beard Motorsports car. That is a good question.
That's been itching. I'm sure I should have looked that up.
Why didn't you look it up? Now I gotta look it up. It had to have raced. Man, I want to say it was like one of those like David Reagan types. Let's see. Last fall at Talladega. I don't think it was in this race. 62. This does not help anybody, by the way. Waste people's time.
Keystone took a dive. I've never had a Keystone.
Haven't? Oh, it's great swill. It's terrible. No, I like it. It's terrible. It's because it has a distinct flavor, right? It's not watered down. It's not good, but if you want something that has a little bit of flavor, like core. I imagine you've had cores with that bitterish taste.
Coors gives me a headache.
Okay, well, yeah, no, Keystone definitely give you a headache.
Oh, that's not who races this car?
It's not a very clean alcohol. I'm sure there's all kinds of crap inside it, and the body does not process it very well. So, right. So the Beard wasn't in the fall race. I don't think they were in the second one. Did they only run one? They do anything last year? Maybe
yeah, they didn't. I'm looking at Talladega. Maybe that's why when I searched it, I just didn't find any. I thought I was just being lazy. Either way,
yeah, they didn't do.
I don't know what Ty Dillon does in this race. I think
it's not Brendan Gaughan. It's nothing. Thank God he doesn't do a Brendan Gaughan anymore. But as soon as he was gone, they didn't qualify for a race.
Yeah,
tough luck. Okay, Harvick, JGR. You like McDowell, maybe Ty Dillon, but I think McDowell's probably. The guy won the Daytona 500 last year and has a fast car so far this week. I don't see LaJoie really trying to push it. Don't see Cody Ware pushing it. Villanueva is just going to stay right there and make sure he doesn't mess his car up. Biffle is kind of the but Biffle doesn't have to do anything, right? He just has to beat Timmy Hill, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not going to take much. Biffle's not an idiot. Timmy Hill, though, can work if some sort of idiot stuff happens. Is there any idiots in this field, though?
I don't see it. And it just really, it doesn't even matter what positions they finish in, but if Truex, Hamlin, Bell, Bubba, Kyle race for the top 5, that's the top 5 finishes, finishing positions, give or take. And so after that, everybody's racing for like 8th, 7th, 9th, and 10th. Then it just
people are bad-mouthing Keystone in the chat. Come on.
Oh, no.
What's up with that?
Oh, man.
It is bad, but I like it. I like that it's bad.
It's
so cheap, man.
That's Tecate down here. Tecate is like the cheapest beer I've ever tasted.
Well, that's the thing with like if you don't live near the border like you.
Well, I'm like, what is this Natty Light? I've never even seen this type of stuff down here.
See, that's Ohio's finest. Ohio University. That's everywhere. Party school. We're usually like top 5 party school in the country. And it's just Natty Light everywhere. It's water. It's the cheapest beer possible. But I think Corona in Mexico is a cheap beer as well, right? But here in America, it's just branded as, it's special, and people just accept it and think it's unique. So imagine what like Tecate is the same thing.
Pacifico as well. Yeah, Pacifico's pretty watery.
Is it? See, like, we don't know any different up here in the Midwest. We think, look at this tropical festive beer. So
I think this should be a sign of like how not fun it is, but how difficult this slate is unless things get stupid. This is the race where if there's a wreck, then the optimal lineup is going to be some wild play. But I don't see that. I just don't see that.
BGR, Kevin Harvick, and then you're looking for a value guy.
Mm-hmm.
What did the optimizer spit out? I bet it was probably that. It was Logano, because Logano's going to race, won't he? Why don't we mention Logano again?
So I think you play Logano if you think he's going to beat the Jay Gibbs or the Joe Gibbs.
He already came out and said, all I know, I'm racing to win. That's
but
so he's going to go race to win.
Okay, so going back to like duel number 1 and us being not sure of like if these cars are going to work, we know Joe Gibbs is going to work together. They are going to be a 5-car train in this event. Does Logano have either the push, the car, or the friends to get by a 5-car Joe Gibbs train, or even the desire from anybody else to help him? I don't think so.
Can he get up there early on and just wedge his way in? Right, they're going to move him out.
Mm-hmm.
If we go single file pretty quickly, he's starting on the 3rd row. He can get into a spot where he'll be within the top 5 or top 6 for the whole race. And from there, I like my chances with Joey Logano, regardless of what happens. Maybe someone gets out of line with him at the end. I mean, do you think they're just going to run single file at the very end?
I think they do. I don't see much. Let's see. I have
think they
Logano.
will. I don't think Joey Logano will. I think Joey Logano will try it.
I got Logano for 42.3 points.
I think he can win, so I'm got him up to as many as 50 points. And if he gets the lead and we go single file, then it's his. It doesn't matter what the train behind him decides they want to do or JGR decide they want to do. If he's leading, he's leading.
I just think Hamlin leads this race. I don't think Hamlin lets anybody buy him unless it's Bubba.
That's a possibility as well.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Don't sleep on Eric Almirola. If you look at the last 2 years, he finished 1 and 2. Last 3 years, actually 1, 2, 3 are his finishes in the last 3 duels. His fantasy finishes are 1, 6, and 3, and even I guess neater. So he started second last year. And he started 4th the year before that, and still had top 6 scores. Now I know he doesn't have any JGR. He doesn't have any friends in this. I guess you have to look and see if that was one of the reasons why he did so well in previous races, but no one's going to play Eric Almirola, are they?
No,
there he is. He's been in the
if I'm playing somebody who no one's going to play, it would be Burton, which I'm not doing. But I would much rather play Burton over Eric.
More people will play Burton than Almirola because of the price and because of just a little bit more place differential. A little less risk. We've seen the car in the number 2 spot run pretty well because he's not locked into his position. So, A, if you're starting second, that means you have a really fast race car.
Yeah.
B,
so
you want to have that really fast race car up near the front during the Daytona 500 is the safest place to be. So I think we've seen the 2 car really go for it.
I think the only way that works is if Alex bails quickly, and I don't know what line is dominant with this new car. I don't know if it's a bottom or a high line type of track. And so if it is a high line, Eric has a chance to stay out there and lead. And so if I'm playing Eric, I'm playing him because I think he's going to lead like 20 laps, where he's the lead car in that train. I just still feel that JGR is going to, even if Eric is the leader at some point, I think JGR dives out under him and passes him.
Yeah, there's less probability of him hitting. He wouldn't be the first way I would go, but I wouldn't completely write him off. Whereas I don't know. I just wouldn't. He's a good plate racer. He's already demonstrated that he can score enough fantasy points from the spot. His car's obviously fast.
I guess we are kind of.
We didn't talk about Austin Dillon either. Austin Dillon's right there, isn't he?
Dylan is the guy I'm going to bring up. Is if I want to try and get different, I want to put Austin Dillon in the line. And I think even if you play Dillon and even the rest of the chalk, you're still going to be duplicated. But I think Dillon has the highest upside versus the ownership to be optimal. As like the sixth driver in the optimal lineup who sneaks in there with like a 7th or 6th place finish. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, he could possibly work. I don't know. I don't know really what he's going to try to do or not. I don't know what the sentiment is on him, if people want to play him or not. I guess it's just going to be low because everybody wants to play JGR. Kevin Harvick seems like a good play. He's not really cheap. Yeah, I guess he's okay. Did the optimizer take Dillon? It did. It also took McDowell, JGR, Logano, and Harvick. It's fine. Did it leave any money on the table? Are you spending everything? Probably.
I don't think so. Let me look. I'm close. I got less than 500 in the 3 lines that I have.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see any reason really to play like two drivers under $7,000.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take one, and that's probably for both duels, I would say.
Yeah.
Right, we'll go back to duel one.
Yeah. Real quick, the only guys in Duel 2 that I'm not playing starting between 4th and 16th is Ty Dillon and Burton. Everybody else is in the pool for me.
Wait, who are you not playing?
Harrison Burton and Ty Dillon.
Didn't you just talk? We were only talking about Harrison Burton in comparison then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, back to duel one. Larson, no from me. Byron, I'd think about it. What about you?
No.
Okay, Chase Elliott.
No. I do want to bring up that I think this is a I assume you're playing from the back here. This is more a race where I would probably be uncomfortable spending that much or leaving that much on the table. I think I'd upgrade a driver somewhere. Just look.
Yeah, I probably won't leave a bunch of money. But if you want to be different, you want to be unique, and there are wrecks, then you're going to look really smart, and you've got a chance. It's not the craziest thing to do in the world to leave a bunch of money on the table because it's unconventional. Leaving money on the table, Daytona 500, Truck Series, Xfinity Series, not such a big deal. Here, you are unique doing that, but you're also hoping for a wreck. And like usually we have a feel of, all right, this is going to be a chaotic speed week. Or they're going to go crazy. I don't get that feel. It could be. I mean, with this new car, we haven't seen them really race. It could really go haywire fast.
So this is more speculation than anything. I don't think they're going to cause a wreck by people doing dumb things. I think it's going to be just handling causes somebody to spin out in front of the field. I don't think that happens tonight with the temperature. I think for the 500, as much as I want to see people just take each other out, I think there's just one big wreck in the 500 this year, and I think it's single file. I think it's going to be a very boring race in the 500.
But there's stage points available.
Nobody cares about that. You sound like
this race pays points.
Yeah, this duel pays stage points. Like
the collection window is open. I like Steve Letarte, but sometimes Steve Letarte's just an idiot. Man,
that's Larry.
Larry's cartoon image looks like an old grandma. Every year Keselowski looks more and more like Grandma Keselowski. It's really weird.
But man, he's a spitting image of his dad.
He is getting very androgynous.
He's so cool. I love Keselowski. I'm more
He's very smart, but I don't know. Sometimes I really appreciate him, and sometimes Keselowski.
Anyway, so Chase Elliott, you playing Elliott?
No, Elliott. What were we gonna say? What were we talking about before that? Rex. Oh, yeah. I just wanted like how stiff these cars were, like how bumpy and like it's that's not good.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like how do they not the shocks or why they're running as stiff as they are? If I mean, I get it. You can go faster that way. The less that the car absorbs, the faster it will go, and the more that it absorbs the ground, the contact, the smoother, the slower. Do you think this is just the teams pushing it, or is this the new car?
I think this is the new car. With what the teams want to do,
it seemed like it's moving backwards in terms of advancing.
We're equivalent to like 1980 pole times. Like, I'm like, what are we doing racing these jalopies around? Lastly, and nobody's mentioned this yet, but my first thought was, man, your butt it's going to fall asleep on Sunday. Like, there's no way your legs aren't numb at the end of that race of just bouncing around for 3 hours.
I always wonder how loose they're going to get. And you put them in with other cars. It sounds like a wreck waiting to happen to me.
I think that's why you race single file. Oh, okay. Last thing, now that we're on this, I think this suspension breaks. Like if somebody gets spun in the corner and hits the apron aggressively, I think it breaks the front end of the car. I don't even think you get damage. I think it just breaks the suspension.
Yeah,
so
that's another interesting angle. Like, sometimes we see these guys spin out and they save it a little bit. Like, well, this probably won't matter in the duel, but in the Daytona 500 where, the guy dives low down to the apron, like you're mentioning, to get out of the way of a wreck. Your freaking car's toast. Like all those avoidance moves we've seen in the past, like that's going to take people out.
And you cannot correct this car. Like the way the steering is, you're basically running like a 4-to-1 steering ratio. To where like there's no correcting at all. You get sideways, you're just overcorrecting to the wall.
Why did
like nobody's mentioning this? That's the issue. And that's how I think more cars get taken out, either in the 500 or what. Like I don't think we see. It's either going to be a big crash or a lot of like one dude just overcorrecting and not necessarily getting spun by somebody.
That's the old iRacing trick. I read that in a forum. It was like if you adjust your steering ratio, you can turn better. I was like, I don't know if that really makes any physical sense whatsoever, but I went along with it. Can you tell? Did that work if you change your steering ratio on iRacing?
It just it depends on the track.
On your racing, right? It wouldn't really adjust.
Yeah,
it depends on like how you drive more than anything. But I don't know. It's like the stupidest thing I ever heard. That's. Well, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
I believe this car is made of styrofoam, to be honest with you. Like, I think the body's better. I think everything inside is just made of styrofoam.
It's like a kabuki car. Okay, Ross Chastain. I like Chastain Suarez. Where are you at? You're going to go backwards.
37 points and 39 points. So I'm not playing them.
Say their finishing position. That always confuses me when you do points. I hate that you do points.
I hate the way you do. I got them both. I got Chastain.
Just say they're freaking going to finish. Is that hard? Is it that hard?
I got Suarez for 6th. No, Suarez for 5th. Chastain for 6th. Why are we? Look. I look at DraftKings points. I don't even pay attention to finishing positions.
I just say them both because I have them in front of me. It's not that hard. I've got Chastain with the ceiling of winning. Same thing with Suarez. That's 48 and 49. Daniel Hemrick, I think he can move forward, but I don't like him. Maybe 3rd or 4th.
I'm giving him 5th.
Yeah. Ryan Blaney, you like him a lot.
I love him a lot.
Tyler Reddick, fine. I think he's getting in that sweet spot of where he can really score. Blaney, Reddick, Keselowski are in that sweet spot, and they're all good racers. And if I had to guess towards going for it, not going for it, I would say going for it. Where do you stand?
I think they're going for it too.
Briscoe, we have not spent any time on him, and he's just is a big question mark to me.
I got him for 7th, but my gut tells me he's scared. I know that's dumb, but like look at where. If I remember correctly, when I did this last night, he basically just rode in his duel last year. And I think that's very similar to how he's going to run this time around.
So if Kevin Harvick doesn't have a backup car, then there's no freaking way Chase Briscoe has backup anything. Guy's got no sponsor, right? The only way a guy gets into commercials if Tony Stewart does the commercial. It's like, why is Chase Briscoe even in that thing? You knew the sponsor's like, yeah, we'll do one with Tony. Well, what about Chase? I guess he can be in there too.
I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone because when that commercial played, I was like, that is not Stewart. Like, I've never heard Stewart sound like that before. And I was like, what is this? And then they have Dave Moody with like a MP3 file at the end. I was like, what is the quality
He's
here?
doing Chase Briscoe a solid by appearing in his commercials. Yeah. He doesn't have to do that stuff, and he's doing it, which is very nice of Tony, because Tony doesn't want to do commercials anymore. He don't want to do any of that crap. He doesn't even show up at the track.
Right.
You think he's even there this weekend? He's probably not there.
He's showing up for the 500. Like, he's not in the – I don't know if he's in the booth tonight.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they did have him. I couldn't believe he was in the booth. Is that a one-off or –
It's a 2-off. It was supposed to be the Clash in the 500.
Yeah. You got to cut him a check to get him to show up for stuff. Cindric, I like Cindric much more than Briscoe. Yeah, and you like Cindric too. Jones going back. Kurt Busch, I like Busch. I like Justin Haley. Custer is kind of a question mark. If you don't think Briscoe's going to race, then you don't like Custer. I don't think
Custer does anything.
The only thing Custer's got going for him, at least he can grab 4 more place differential points if something happens.
Mm-hmm.
and then we've got these slugs in the back.
Which, so this is,
and it's just
honestly,
Growler, and then the rest, and
Yeah.
the rest are just pivots to try to get different from people.
So before we head off here, because we have been here for an hour, two of the bad cars are going home. I think Yaley goes home. I think Hill goes home.
Yeah.
Speaking for the 500, there's not like a clunker in this race other than maybe Reagan.
We don't know.
What do you think ownership does? Because
if it was 2020 or 2021 and we looked at it, say, yeah, these are all solid machines, but do we think all of a sudden that Colleague is going to have solid cars? That's a huge leap to assume that they're going to have these cars out of nowhere. It's a huge leap to say Trackhouse is going to have these cars out of nowhere. It's a huge leap to say 2311 Racing is going to have two really good cars.
What I was going to bring up is the cars starting 25th on pack on Sunday, assuming that this race goes green. The quote unquote back markers finish at the end and they start. I don't think there's like any bad car in this event. So, like, how do you think ownership's going to happen? Because it used to be with like the 4 Rick Ware cars, people would be like, "Oh, we're not playing Rick Ware cars." So that's
right. So from that perspective, we don't have a Ware back end.
Yeah, we don't have like the Go Fast car. Like, we don't. I know it's going to happen, but because I would play the idiots in the back so much, I was used to seeing like guys owned at like 2% ownership. Like 6 guys owned at like a max of like 5% ownership. I don't know if we get that this year. I think maybe they even out more, like around like 8% between these back markers. But
there'll be more people. Especially, I think there's going to be chaos. Like you said, that there's going to be wrecks. It's going to be survival, and those back markers are going to default into big time fantasy days, where you probably are going to have 5-1, or maybe at least 4 drivers from the back in the alpha lineup. Maybe 2 make it from somewhere towards the front, just because there's so much carnage that even some of the guys in the back get taken out. But yeah, I think people should see that and play people from the back.
Yeah,
those glasses are freaking stupid, Kazgrala. What is wrong with him?
Let's see, what is this?
What?
I'm just looking at. Oh, I'm missing Mikey's grid walk. How dare you make me miss that? Michael's a treasure. I think he's been going through a midlife crisis for the last 7 years. It's amazing.
It depends what day of the week. Sometimes I like Michael Waltrip. Some days I hate Michael Waltrip. It just depends.
Oh, you're talking about? I thought you said Harvick. Are you talking about Grala's Pit Viper class?
Yes.
Oh my, yeah. That's my lord. The Colleague car. Colleague has been fast in the Xfinity Series and Super Speedways. I wanted to see what they would bring to qualifying yesterday. I think they have a better car than what we think. Like, I know the first round meaningless, but I was really happy to see the Colleague cars be as fast as they were.
Yeah, I think Colleague will be fine. I have confidence in them, but what I'm saying is we are like, just assume that these teams we've got the car. Just assume that they have the car all of a sudden for the first race. It's a big leap. And then for this to be the first time ever with this new next gen car, I don't think it's just something we should assume. They'll probably be fine. Everyone will probably be fine. But we are making some major assumptions, thinking that, they're going to be fine. Even though we sit here and talk about, man, those cars look rough. And you mentioned in your video how quickly these things disintegrated at the clash. There's a lot of clues and hints that say we could have tons of failures. These things could just evaporate on track. And if they're going to evaporate on track, it's going to be the cars that have fewer resources available to them.
So quickly, I'm so excited to see the first crash in these cars, like at full speed. I'm dying to
want someone to die because you're a
I can't. I want to see one of these cars flip over so bad. I want to see how. Like, I'm so morbidly interested in seeing these cars get in wrecks because I haven't seen it yet. That's my.
Hopefully we don't see it. Custer versus Briscoe is a question. Custer for me, but I will probably play neither.
I'm playing Custer. I have Custer in line.
I think that pretty much does it. It wasn't bad for our first show back.
Yeah, not bad. Right under an hour. We still got time for people to goof around with lineups and everything. And I know you got stuff going on, so we'll probably.
I haven't even checked the thing that I'm running, but I'll get to that. And I have not messed with my lineups.
All right.
I think I got like 10 minutes. Better probably I'll do that.
Yeah, you got 20. You're fine. All right. Well, I do want to say thank you for everybody joining. Thank you for joining on a Thursday as well. Half you guys aren't even home yet. So I'll be live tomorrow. I'll be live Saturday. I'll be live Sunday. Pearce is going to join if he's able to. If not, it'll just be me.
Hey, what time are you going live tomorrow?
I have no idea yet. I'll message you in the morning.
I mean, like the thing is, like we got juggled spreadsheet and input stuff, and we've got all the Fridays. Fridays not as wall to wall as Fridays can be, but there's still a lot of crap that we got to do. So we'll do the best.
All right. Well, I'll be here tomorrow, so everybody can tune in and check in.
Here's another thing, and I mentioned this to you before we started. There aren't any sports tomorrow. I don't know if people have looked at I look at the calendar. Well, it's my job to know, and I didn't even look at the calendar till today, and I realized there's nothing tomorrow. There's nothing.
Oh,
I think there's
isn't the NBA on a break?
Slate. NBA's All-Star break. NFL is over, so the trucks are.
Oh no!
I mean. Very rarely does NASCAR get to be the main event. And so tomorrow, the truck race is the sporting event of the night. And I actually got, as I mentioned to you, I got green. They decided, all right, let's roll back the truck rankings article. We're going to roll it out, which had been retired. But since there's nothing else going on in the world, like, all right, you can write trucks articles. So if you guys are bored, and I know you will be because there's no sports, at DK Nation, you can read my truck rankings article. At least click on it because they look at the views and stuff. That always helps.
Let's see. I don't know. Right now, I know you got to go. I have 12 lineups reserved for the truck race. I'm really considering bumping that up to like 22 to 30 tomorrow. So we'll see how tonight.
I think they're going to regret not making that contest bigger.
I think they are too.
And even when the Xfinity on Saturday, that's Xfinity rate, and they're going to regret making that small. Xfinity versus what? What's the competition? The NBA All-Star Challenge. Or there's nothing on Saturday night either. And then on Sunday night, I won't be surprised. Watch the NBA All-Star game beat the freaking Daytona 500.
Lastly, I know we last 10 minutes. I know I got to let you go, but I can't believe real quick that they didn't make other contests bigger for the 500. Like the 44 man is only 1,300 people. The $180 is only 67. Even the 88 is only 645. Like, I guess they're just wanting everybody to go to the 25, which I don't blame them. But I thought there'd be much bigger contests outside of that one.
I still can't believe they're doing a million maker for it, but I mean, I guess there's nothing going on. So, and it's you still got a bunch of people from Super Bowl still kind of hanging on, still like checking out the site. So I guess it makes sense. So,
all right, cool.
Yeah, I think just trying to jam everybody into that contest.
Yeah. All right, I'll let you go. I'll let everybody else go, and good luck tonight. Enjoy the races. I'll see you guys tomorrow.